receptive to engage different cultural experience, and the cultural experience could be your clients, or you also invite your clients to be familiar with your own culture. Treat everyone as the individual. A lot of time it's not black, white, brown, or everything in between. Is if you are treating your client as an individual. And see, we constantly hear like, before you treat a male or female or transgender, etc., treat each one of them as a person. And then that is constantly reinforced in my teaching. I don't care what this person's orientation happens to be, but you are going to treat a person like a person. Be musically flexible. You have to be willing to explore different musical elements. And here comes, and always ask for help if you feel stuck. That's why I tell my students that once my babies, forever my babies, they even think about bring their kids over for me to babysit. And I say, I'm going to sugar them up just like the grandparents would do and hand them back to them. That's the way that I would do it. Okay. All right, and then the other recommendation, be aware of your own cultural identity, because if you don't know yourself, there's no way you could reach out and be a competent music therapist. Know the cultural attributes of the clients. Use the cognitive and affective empathy. Basically, how you want yourself to be treated is going to be the way that you are going to treat others. Communicate empathy effectively. So those are the recommendations. But one thing that I realized that is really interesting is that when I'm talking to or working with my students who are foreigner, non-white, and I ask them like, okay, so you have all these guidelines. What would you see yourself doing? The first thing they are constantly thinking is that I'm going to learn my client's music. From the interview that Dr. Swanson conducted back in 2014, she realized that for music therapists who, like the white music therapists that might have gone to like Jamaica field trip or different music therapy practice in different countries, they tend to use the music they are more familiar with instead of the ones I did. They went to Thailand. Yes, they will be learning some songs, but you start seeing like in a lot of intervention, the music therapist trend in the United States will be still using the songs they are familiar with, like Home on the Range, You're My Sunshine. Maybe learning a different language, but the musical material seems to be more the ones that they are familiar with. And so that gives me a quick question for like the place that for me to kind of wonder, like when I'm talking about using culturally oriented music material, whose culturally oriented music material? Would that be our clients? Would that be the therapist? Or others? And I would say all three of them are equally important. One thing that I keep emphasizing is that I want my students to be able to function when they are in the therapeutic setting. Yes, I want them to start learning the songs that their clients are familiar with. If you are working with cowboys, you gotta learn those cowboy songs, no exception, right? And then, in fact, I think at the VA, one of the clients happened to say, well, you keep singing all those white people songs. Right, so we gotta bring out the Motown, we're gonna do the doo-wop, and all of a sudden the person just leave out, right? And so definitely you are going to start learning more and more of what your client's musical culture, those elements, you're going to incorporate those into your music therapy practice. But at the same time, there is going to be a transition as you are learning those. You're not quite up to the skills of using them adequately would that be okay if you use the ones that you're familiar with when you are emphasizing a specific function? I think that is very acceptable too. And then eventually you're going to kind of meet in between, and that will increase your resources. And also others, it wouldn't be just necessarily the client and yours. How about everything else? And so that kind of justify the way that I would encourage people to really emphasize the multiculturalism, no matter where you are. And I'm using the little community where we are. I like to start with engaging them to understand their root. Like for instance, we have quite a few residents at an assisted living center who happen to have the cultural root of Czechoslovakia. And we have a really good sized community in a city that is about like 30 minutes away from Weatherford, called El Reno. Huge Czech community right there. And so when the moment is right, I'll be asking them, hey, do you know where your ancestors were coming from? And some of them will say Czech, or like when I was working in Minneapolis, a lot of Scandinavian. And I will encourage them to bring those elements, because a lot of times they're in the mind, oh, I'm American. Yeah, yes, I understand. But do you have a different cultural root? And yeah, I remember when I first came to the United States, my grandparents were with us, and they didn't even speak a lick of English. They were primarily speaking in Deutsch. Great! That will be a good starting point. When you say, would you mind bringing like German nursery rhymes or a Czech nursery rhymes, the song that your mom used to sing to you or your grandma used to sing to you? Those tend to be a very good starting point. When they realize that they also have that multicultural element in their upbringing, they are going to be way more receptive. And then as a result, in fact, they will start reaching out, hey, tell us a little bit about your culture. And so we have students going to the assisted living, and then they will ask like, hey, bring a song that you sang when you were little, and they did. And so that becomes a dialogue, allowing them to understand, oh, okay, so this happens with the music that you were singing in associated with a specific festival, associated with a specific event, etc. And when I was working in a nursing home, I also had a program called Around the World in 80 Days, when I surveyed different type of music of different culture, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be the culture where my residents were originally from. I would start from where they were starting, like, okay, so we start from Germany to France, and then you kind of move on to some other culture that may not be part of theirs. And by the time when they reach the other culture, they become much more receptive. And of course, we know what kind of musical choices they are. The first one, I usually play like the type of music for them to kind of get used to. And then we will talk a little bit about that. And then especially if it's from the origin of one of the residents, I'll be asking her, hey, so when would you see yourself using this specific music? Tell us a little story behind that. Is there any kind of religious ritual or custom that kind of goes along with this specific performance, this type of music, and so on and so forth. And so that is like, this is like a little table that I use in my mind when I'm trying to plan out the music therapy session that will emphasize the multicultural elements. I know the time is up. Do you have any questions?